choose what's going to make me feel nice.
So you get to pick what makes you feel nice.
No, I don't.
Hello? Your Health is Calling, where holistic health meets practical solutions for your well being. With your host, speaker, New York Times bestselling author, Sue Kostyk, a seasoned holistic health practitioner and longevity coach. Join Sue each week to embark on a journey to uncover the root causes of your health concerns. Through a personalized approach, learn how to decode the messages your body is sending and craft natural protocols to address them. Call in live at 888-994-4995 Studio A.
Good morning and welcome to Hello, Your Health is Calling. My background probably looks a little different. I am coming to you from Southern California Beach. I got out of the convection oven of Arizona for a little while, so we're coming to you from a much cooler atmosphere. So we today are going to kind of embark on a new journey. We've been going through the last, 9 weeks or so, or 10 weeks, through the de-stress protocol, which is something that I work with my clients on just to get them started on a healthy journey. And we finished that up last week. If you want to go back and listen to them, you can go to the Reinvented Life Network on YouTube and search Hello, Your Health is Calling and go through those. But today, we're going to talk about some longevity things and why maintaining good health, no matter what age you are, and the younger the better, obviously, but, instead of having the mindset of I'm going to work on my summer body type of thing, we want to have the mindset of I'm going to work on my 80-year-old body. And I want to be one of those people that is vital and healthy and doing a lot of activities in our 60s, 70s, and 80s. And one of the things that has been on my heart to talk about is what happens when you do run into a health situation that you need to go to your doctor for. You're having some symptoms, you need to do some figuring out, and you might get a diagnosis that needs intervention. Now, I have several friends that are going through this right now, and this is kind of what brought it up for me to share with you today, because our conventional medicine is really there. It's not healthcare, it's sick care. So, what you're doing is you start to get symptoms and you start to not feel well. So, you reach out to your doctor, and they may run some tests or they may just diagnose you. And then you have insurance to deal with. You may be put on some medications that are extremely expensive. Your insurance isn't covering it. They want hundreds of dollars. It's just a super frustrating situation that you're in. And in the integrative health world, we're all about prevention. We are literally, trying to build you up and make sure that your body is healthy so that you don't have symptoms and have to go to the doctor and have to struggle and fight through insurance and everything. And there's different ways to do it. And I'm going to bring on a couple of people that have experience in this. And we're going to just kind of have a conversation about experiences. And I'll be throwing in, a lot of good nuggets as far as what you can do to maintain your health, and something that you can do on a yearly basis, something you can do on a monthly basis, so that we're as healthy as we possibly can, so we don't have to get into that frustrating healthcare system and battle with insurance companies, battle with hospitals, so that we can be the best we can be. So let's come on. We're going to bring Dawn and Freddy on.
Good
Hi,
morning.
guys.
Good morning. How you doing?
I am good. I am wonderful, actually.
She's on vacation and
Loving
we're
this.
working. Well,
Well,
that's okay. She's enjoying it, which is nice.
That is nice. I had I had Baxton coming talking to her a little bit before the show, and I love the topic that you're bringing up because, and stress is involved in everything, and
Yeah.
sometimes I don't go to the doctor because I don't want to deal with the medical insurance and all the. It makes me sicker going to a doctor when I leave here.
Right.
So I don't do it, and she'll tell you I just don't like going.
I don't think a lot of people like going. I've actually started working with Sue because I know things that I've got going on. My conventional labs, which I've had done, are showing absolutely nothing. Like I'm 100% fine, but I know I don't feel 100% fine. So I was thinking, who am I going to go see? And like this light bulb went off and said, call Sue.
Who are you
And
going to call?
oh my God, I'm going to call my Ghostbuster.
Mhm.
And so I called Sue, and we were able to order a lot of home labs to do. So I'm in the process of working through. So they've got different stipulations, like I can't eat certain things before one of the labs I have to do for 48 hours before I do that one. And then there's another one. But the one I was able to do was a finger prick lab. And I realized that it's not so easy to prick your finger and get 5 drops of blood out of it.
Yay.
Well, we are talking because I couldn't get the 5 drops of blood I needed. And as I'm doing it, it's getting caught in my fingernail. So it's like this scoop of blood. And I called her like, Sue, it's not so
I'm
easy
not a
as
bleeder.
it looks. I'm not a phlebotomist. But I think I got it and I sent it in. And we're going to be looking at some
Good.
food sensitivities. For me, that was more manageable and digestible than going to an allergist right now and doing a whole battery of skin testing. So how do those
Yes.
labs work?
Yeah, so there's like 7 different labs that we run. And so the labs are great. And what I love about them is they're sent to your home. You do them in your own home, and then everything, you put it in a box and mail it away. Everything's postage paid. It's easy. And so what happens, especially like with the food sensitivity labs, it's great. It identifies about 190 different foods, vegetables, fruits, condiments, spices, different things that you could have a sensitivity to. And it doesn't test for allergies. Now, allergies are different. Allergies will kill you. But a food sensitivity, it's kind of like a slow kill, actually, because you can live with food sensitivities and not really realize that that's what's causing your distress. And the thing about food sensitivities is they show up between 24 and 72 hours after you eat it. So let's say you had dinner last night and you woke up this morning feeling really bloated. It's probably not from that dinner. It very well could be from something you ate the day before. So that's why identifying these, and what happens is when you have the sensitivities, your body creates an immune situation. So it's so busy trying to figure out how to combat the immune situation that it's not helping you with the other functions of your body. So when we find people that their hormones aren't working properly, they all of a sudden have weird skin rashes or breakouts, adults all of a sudden breaking out with acne, you've got some joint pain, and they're thinking, oh, I'm just getting old and I can't handle this anymore. And it's really probably because you have a sensitivity to something that you're eating. And a lot of people don't realize that eating the same food over and over and over again is very detrimental. So,
It's
you've
hard.
got these bodybuilders. It is. And you've got bodybuilders and people who are trying to lose weight, and all they do is eat chicken and broccoli for 2 years. Well, now they're very sensitive to chicken and broccoli and can't eat it anymore because it's created such a bad immune response in their body.
And that's what I'm wondering because, when you go to Dr. Internet and you start looking at things that cause inflammation in your body, and I told Sue I'd be 100% transparent, because I have autoimmune disease, my body is constantly in the state of inflammation. So I eat, you tease me the way I eat, but I eat a certain way because I'm always so inflamed on the inside. So now you go to Dr. Internet and it says, stop eating all the things that I've learned to eat. So yogurt, cottage cheese, eggs, simple plain foods, and gluten, which means I've taken out everything, and tomatoes, which out of salads. So basically that left me with lettuce and gluten-free bread. And I did it for a day, and I was miserable. And I thought, I don't eat a lot anyway. So Sue said, listen, we're going to go plain, and let's try this test, because you can't cut out everything. Like tomato sauce, that I can do. But I got to know what I'm dealing with, because otherwise I'm eating nothing. And if I was losing weight, that'd be one thing, but I'm not even that. So there's something in my body that is holding on to something inflammatory that's keeping my weight high, but I can't eat anything. So there's something going on that's not right.
There's something going on. And inflammation, it's like I tell people, I say, I don't look at you as a heavy person. If I have someone coming to me for weight loss and they have a good diet and they do get some exercise in, it's like they're just really inflamed. And what happens is when your body's inflamed, your liver can't do the process it needs to do to detoxify. So when all of a sudden there's something that the liver needs to get rid of, it doesn't have the energy to do it, so it stores it. And it stores it in fat, and then it seals the fat cell up with water. So that's why when people do a detox or start to do an anti-inflammatory diet, all of a sudden they just start to lose weight because the toxins are being released. And it's literally just the fat cells that need to go that have the toxicity in it.
Now, what about someone with diabetes? Now, if Freddie were to do one of these tests, you may not do a food
Yep.
sensitivity test. You would talk to him and say, all right, I'm going to, because
No.
one of the tests you're doing for me is the heavy metals, because I think we're
Yes.
exposed to so many things. And we talked about vaccines. I'm not anti-vaxxer, but there are things in these vaccines that cause inflammation as
Yes.
well. And there's a way
Yes.
to detox some of that also?
Yes, you can detox. There's actually a protocol to detox after you're vaccinated if you choose to do that. It's literally just a bunch of herbs and stuff. Everything we need comes from the earth. We don't become deficient in chemicals. So really, if you do a vaccine, there is a specific protocol that just helps flush some of those heavy metals and stuff. And there's universal binders that you can take that go in and they identify the toxin, they bind to it, and then it's flushed from your system. But for Freddie, for anyone who is, type 2 diabetic, or if you have like an inflammatory disease, it really is probably a gut issue. So we need to do the organic acids test like you did, the urine test. And that identifies the gut bacteria, the yeast, it identifies your vitamin deficiencies. And because really, gut bacteria, I just had a friend who actually just hired me. He has what they're calling terminal cancer, but he is convinced that it doesn't have to be that way. He's got the great mindset. So I was doing some research and talking about how cancers and different life-threatening situations start. And it really is because your gut is messed up. That's like layman's terms. If you have bacteria, parasites, yeast overgrowing in your gut, then again, your body is going to shut down certain systems because you're in fight or flight all the time. And we talked about fight or flight being that really high stress level. And this is where we're talking about the stress in your body. Like Don said earlier, any inflammatory situation, you have that stress in your body constantly. So you're robbing Peter to pay Paul just so you can survive. And we have to identify the bacteria that's overgrowing, the yeast that's overgrowing, if you have parasites that are overgrowing, because we all have them anyway. They live with us all the time. But when they start to overgrow is when we start to have those problems. So there would definitely, for someone who has different issues with autoimmune situations or diabetes, we would definitely test your gut bacteria. We would probably test some hormone levels as well, just to see how your hormones are functioning.
It's interesting because we had somebody that came in here and took my blood samples, and they found the parasites in my blood. And I had to do certain things. In 2 weeks, they took the blood again, and the parasites were completely gone. So that was interesting. Then she talked about yeast, which apparently my body produces a lot of yeast. And you can tell on it. So you remember the thing we took for COVID? That was a yeast killer. So I may have to go back to that because now I can see the things that I look for that happens. But something interesting happened yesterday. My sugar was 202, what's today, Thursday? On Tuesday. And that's high. And the doctors already have warned me that I got to bring it down or else. So yesterday I went back to a formula that I've used that brought my sugars down to a 6.3. And that's I have to fast and drink a lot of water. So I have to use the water as a retainer to get the sugar off the system. And then I had a broth last night, a bone broth that Dawn gave me, which I've never done before. By the time I got home, between drinking the water, doing the walking, I walked around a little bit and drank more water, which if you drink the water and you walk, somehow it brings your sugar down. So I went from 202 to 170 to 141. And last night when I got home, it was 120.
Wow.
And this morning when I woke up, it was 113. So
Excellent.
but to get there, I got to cut out some of the carbs. I got to cut out inflammation foods. I got to educate my body. And the thing that I've learned from last year to this year, it's not the same recipe. Because when you get older, even 1 year, your body makes changes that what worked last year are not working this year. That's what I've been amazed at this week. Because last year, my blood would have been in the 90s.
But you might have a parasite or extra yeast in your
I
gut.
do have
a
extra-
thicker,
yeah,
a thicker
I do.
lining in your
So,
gut.
I do.
yeah, and the thing with yeast is if you have a diet that has processed foods or sugar in it, that just feeds it. That's just feeding it all day long. So, but you're right. The body changes every single day. And, eating like you're diabetic, eating an anti-inflammatory diet, eating a high protein diet, staying away from those processed carbs, that's going to just be your best friend, really. You talked about walking. And if you take a 20-minute walk after dinner every night, that will help your blood sugar levels. It will obviously help you sleep as well. But that's the one thing that is recommended for diabetics, to take that walk after dinner. Because there's something about the walk after dinner that helps those glucose levels, helps the sugar levels go down. That's, there's so many things you can do without having to go on any medication to lower your sugar.
You're 100% correct. And it's funny because they wanted to put me on a medication that, what has it been, 7 years? Put me in the hospital, in ICU. And so the doctors are trying to reason with me that the medications have changed. And I said to him, you can order it, I'm not taking it. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
And it just proved to me last night that I know what the recipe is. Diabetics have to be tight on what they do. Because I myself, talking for myself, became sloppy in what I did, and my sugar did rise. It did happen.
Yeah.
I gained the weight back. I was at 181 at one time. I'm at 213 now. So I got to get back on the program, and it does take work to do it, and you got to be disciplined because it's not checkers. This is your life. And if you don't want to visit doctors, if you don't want to take 2 pills, because, they give you 1 pill, and then they give you a second pill to contradict
Then you're going
the
to have
other
a
pill.
second one.
That's right. If you don't want to do that, then you got to put in the work. You got to do the walking.
Right.
You got to put in the diets and everything else. I look at Dawn and I say, I can't believe that Dawn is going through anything, because if you look at her, she's like the model of health.
But that's why I wanted to talk to Sue, because people who look at me on air, I feel like we have this platform and we would be remiss to not take it seriously and personally and say, all because it looks one way on the outside doesn't mean, and hormonal also for women my age. When I told Sue how old I was, she didn't realize my age. No one's talking about hormones and how we really feel. I mean, at my age and 57, we don't have any. There is no way a woman at 57 has any hormones left. You're zero or you're below zero. And what comes with that feels different for everybody.
Right. And that's the problem, is like we're all bio-individual. So to say that everybody needs to take extra estrogen or progesterone or testosterone is that's just a lie. It's plain and simple a lie. You need to find out where you're deficient, where you're overgrowing, and then you can, take what you need. And there's things that actually, you don't have to take bioidentical if you're not comfortable with it. You can take things that are precursors to creating the hormone, because I have a full hysterectomy. I have nothing, but I've never taken anything.
Wow.
because my liver and the liver and your fat will create the hormones you need if you give it what you need.
That's amazing.
So that's where the key is knowing where your levels are. I take a DHEA because that's what I'm so deficient in, and that helps my other hormones. So it's knowing what you need, and you're right. It's hormones are not talked about enough, even for men. You know,
Yeah.
testosterone wanes when you're older. Why not take a supplement that's going to help produce the testosterone versus just getting pellets injected in your butt? You know, it's like know what you need.
But people don't
So,
know, and I think part of my mission anyway is to share information and people like you to give people hope
yeah,
so they're not suffering. You know, you go out for dinner with your girlfriend and when you finally say, "Oh my gosh, I've had this and they say, "Oh, you want to talk about this? Because let me tell you how awful it is for
right.
me." She said, "But no one will talk about
Mm,
it." And
yeah,
that I think is we're doing an unjust service to our girlfriends and our guy friends, right? If men don't talk
right,
about it, and it's
right.
always like I
And they're not
macho,
going to
you
talk
know.
about it.
Yeah, I mean, life changes for men too in hormones, and all because they don't talk
And
about
we
it
and
doesn't
we
mean it's
and we
not
gotta live and we
changing.
gotta live with women, so you're gonna be affected one way or the
Hey,
other.
you can't win, can you, Freddie?
You cannot win. I gotta tell you, but you know, it's refreshing to talk to somebody who understands the problem from the inside out, which is really psychologically. You have no idea of the importance of when you speak. I listen because it gives me ideas
Yeah.
of trying something new, and sometimes a
Hmm.
spark of what you say. So I do the extra walk. So I don't just walk the quarter mile. Maybe I'll do an extra step or two. And when I come back and I'll sit down and I'm covered in sweat and I cool off and drink another glass of water and I take my blood and I see it drop 30 or 40 points, man, I got to tell you, there's
Yeah,
no feeling in the world like that because you can do
right.
this.
I
You're in
mean,
control of it.
you you can, and it's really the body is really a miraculous machine. You know, it you give it a little bit, and so let's talk about overwhelm. And a lot of people who listen to these kind of shows, there's a lot of information thrown at you. You know, you can easily get overwhelmed, and I could easily throw so much information out there. But start with one thing. You know, it's like you said, if it's a walk, start with a walk because literally the American Heart Association is not wrong in that 10,000 steps a day reduces all-cause mortality by like 30%. So that's only 10,000 steps. Imagine if you went for a couple mile walk in the morning and then you do a couple mile walk in the evening and you're active. I mean, that is just, building longevity. And really, isn't that what we want?
But Sue,
It's
can we
we
talk
really want
about
to
some of
live.
the things that you offer as a health coach?
Yes, absolutely. I offer one-on-one coaching. If someone just wants to talk about their health and get some ideas, I offer that. I offer packages that include lab testing. We have a conversation about what's going on, and so I do have packages that have the lab testing. They include the protocols. It's kind of a one-stop shop. I offer detox courses, so if people are really interested in that detox piece, I have a course all set out. You just purchase it online, and you get videos from me once a week and tell you what to do and how to do it. But it's I want to be there for people's needs. So because health is not linear, it's people. Some people know nothing, and some people think they know everything. And there's a happy medium in there, and we can figure things out together. It's everything is figure outable. That's my quote. There's nothing that we cannot figure out together. So,
You know, I got a whole box delivered to my house the other day. So it had the three, and it looks a little overwhelming when you get it. And even for me, that
and
I called and I had the conversation. So it can be intimidating when you get the box and you think, oh my gosh,
yeah,
what am I going to do with all of these? And Sue was right there. She says, all right, we can do
yeah,
this test today, but we can't, one of them, I can't eat pears, apples, or cranberries for 48 hours. Well, I live on my pear
hmm
soup and I eat apples every day. So I know for the
hmm
next 48 hours, I can't do that. So I have to hold off 3 days to take this next test.
yeah,
But that one's a simple urine test. None of them are
Yes.
difficult.
Yeah, and all the tests are easy. They're now the hormone test is a little bit more extravagant because we test hormones 4 times a day, not just a blood test. We do a blood spot and then we do a spit test.
Oh, yeah, that one's awful,
So
by
we're
the way.
testing your hormones. I know. We're testing your hormones 4 times a day to see where your levels are. It's not fun, I'll be honest, but the data we get from it is super important. So, and then there's a hair test for heavy metals and your mineral levels, which that's an amazing test. It's actually the least expensive test that we have. It's $99 and it tests your if you have any toxic heavy metals. It tests your mineral levels, which are super important because we live in stress constantly. And if you're using up all of your minerals that help you regulate your stress, then your cortisol levels are never going to be the right place. And so that test is amazing. It gives us a really, really good picture. We have a starter kit that has the urine test and the heavy metal test in it. So there's so many different ways that we can do this. There's different ways to skin a cat, as they say.
And that one's a
you know,
hair
you can,
test. That one's easy.
that's
the
a hair
am-
test.
The amazing thing is that after these tests come back and they resolve the problem,
Yeah.
because I've known you 8 years, 9 years, and it's always been a struggle to find using the medical profession what you're going through, and they don't come up with it. I'm sorry, I'll be the first to say they give you too much of this and not enough of that, and then they start changing things, and it just makes you.
Because he watches what I go through with hormone replacement and my thyroid and my Synthroid and my Cytomel, and everything is a hormone
Yeah.
balance. So when you're regulating Hashimoto's, and ladies, there's so many of us out there that have Hashimoto's.
There is.
You've got
And there's
Synthroid
women who don't even know.
Synthroid and Cytomel, and then you hit menopause, and then you're dealing with everything else. It throws, for me, my entire body out of whack. And then you're playing catch up because you don't know which one's not working right.
Right.
And then you're going from doctor to doctor. You've got the endocrine, you've got the hormone, if you can find someone. And it's a struggle, which is why I want to totally be honest here, because it's not easy what we're going through as women.
And you're and she's
And
5
it gets
foot,
harder.
and she's 5 foot nothing. So what she takes, she can take a hairline of a pill, and it would affect her differently than somebody who's 5'6" or 5'5".
Yeah.
Too much water. I've seen Dawn drink too much water of
The alkaline
the
water.
Alkaline water, just too much of it.
Yeah.
I said, and I started to throw it away because she was off the walls.
Yeah, and like I said, we're all bio-individual. It's not a one size fits all for anybody. And if you don't know, you don't know. So why not test? Tests don't lie. And, you do 3 or 4 tests once every 18 months. You make sure you still have that good baseline, and you're good for another year and a half. And, it's just about keeping up. And you never want to get to that point where you're like, okay, I feel okay, so I must be okay. But the problem is our body gets used to feeling a certain way, and then that's the baseline. So a lot of people that I work with, they come to me after a few weeks or so, and they're doing this detox, and they're starting to take their supplements and stuff. They're like, I never knew I could feel like this. So it's because your body kind of settles in because it's happy, and your mind plays a big part of it. Your producer that we talk to, he talks about emotional eating and how your mind just takes over and tells you what you need. And it's not good.
I love this platform to share with people, and I'll share my results as they come in for sure.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We can review the tests.
And then maybe we'll figure out if there's anything that interests you to talk to Sue about.
Everything interests me.
To talk to Sue about.
Everything interests me. And Sue, I'm trying today. Today is the harder day than yesterday to duplicate what I did yesterday. And then,
you know what, Freddie? Not to interrupt you, but it could be what you did the day before that helped you yesterday. It's like I have a journal that I give to a lot of my clients because you need to track really a week's worth of stuff, because it could be, some people say, oh gosh, I really messed up yesterday, but I feel really good today. Well, that's probably because the day before they did really well. So their body will catch up to that. So maybe tomorrow they're not going to feel good because of yesterday's eating. It's really compounded. It's like compounded interest.
No, but I know what it is. I know I was eating
Hmm.
bad. I was,
Yeah.
I enjoy the 4th of July, and I says I'm gonna not
Hmm.
worry about it. But there's certain markers that when I take not only I take the case with me, I walk around with it now, which I wasn't doing, and I know the
Okay.
difference between the way I feel today as opposed to how I felt Monday, and I feel a whole lot
Good.
better. The weight is down, the sugar is down. It's just discipline,
Hmm.
It's giving
Right.
yourself a reason to what you're supposed to do. So,
Well,
but I'm
and so
excited.
here's the thing that kind of gets me too. It's like eating the way that we're supposed to is not a diet. It's just eating whole food.
Right.
And our society has become so backwards in that if you don't eat processed foods, you're like, oh wow, she's on a diet. And it's like, no, I'm just eating. you know? So it's a mindset. It really is. And when you get that mindset that you're just going to eat for your health, and you can have, junk food every now and then, and you can have the sweets every now and then, but it's got to be in the reverse order.
Yeah,
It's the healthy food most of the time, the junk food sometimes.
absolutely. And you just stay on the horse, get it done.
Yeah,
And then once I get it
yeah.
to where I want it to be, like I was when I was at 6.3 and I was weighing 180 pounds, and then you eat things in
Hmm.
moderation. See, the problem is I love
Right.
food. I love everything
Hmm.
about food. I love eating it. I love
I think I
playing
know
with it.
sitting right here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you love food, I grew up in a family where my
Hmm.
mother was a great cook. They had restaurants. But I can't be that guy no more. I've
Yeah.
come to the conclusion that isn't me anymore. And I'm not 50 anymore. I'm not 55 where I can rebound. I can't do that anymore. So the
Yeah.
realization of it is I'm going to enjoy my life, but I'm going to do it so I can live it longer.
Right.
Right. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sue, so much for
That's,
having us.
thank you. This is fun. We'll have to do more of it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, yeah, so thank you everybody for joining us. It's been another great session of Hello, Your Health is Calling. My message to you is if your health is calling, please answer so you can have a long, healthy life. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for tuning in to another empowering episode of Hello, Your Health is Calling with Sue Kostyk. Remember, your health journey is ongoing, and we're here to support you every step of the way. If you have any questions, insights, or stories to share, don't hesitate to reach out. You can connect with us on social media or call in live at 888-994-4995 Studio A. Together, we're transforming lives and embracing holistic well-being. Until next time, prioritize your health and remember, your health is calling.